Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Total Football Talk. So, we're going to look at all the latest news and transfer news coming out of Manchester United. And it's also game day, Newcastle away from home. Going to be a tough one. Be interesting what team he puts out today. But let's look at the top headlines that are coming out of Manchester United. And the Mirror are talking about Manchester United having a war chest, Ruben Amorim's war chest of £200 million. Sounds great on paper, doesn't it? Absolutely sounds like we could be on to a winner. But we'll go through it, we'll break it down a little bit and see whether it's actually a realistic target or whether it's just paper talk. And I'm leaning towards just paper talk at the minute because, yeah, it just seems a great figure to throw out there, but I just don't know if it's actually going to be possible. We'll also look at what Ryan Cherokee's release clause is. We mentioned it yesterday, and we'll see what is being said about it today and how we could potentially do a deal there. And we'll look at what Cesc Fabregas is saying about the young winger Asana Diao, which is interesting. Manchester United are also showing interest in Ajax players, so we'll have a quick look at that. Real Betis are apparently close to trying to get a deal done for Anthony, which is great. A little bit on Jack Moorhouse and a little bit on what Christian Eriksen had to say about Ruben Amorim. Guys, thanks very much for all the comments, the likes, the views. Amazing. Really appreciate it. If you guys could subscribe, hit the old subscribe button, bottom right hand corner of the screen would be amazing. The old thumbs up or a like would be absolutely class. But okay, let's jump straight into the old news. Manchester United believe that they can hand Ruben Amorim 200 million this summer by cashing on the following players: Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Anthony, Tyler Malacia. Now, obviously, I think they've gone a little bit over the top. 50 million for Rashford. Has he done enough recently to become a 50 million pound player? I don't think so. I think we'll be lucky if we get in and around the 40 million mark that we have currently, kind of as an not an obligation, but as as a possibility for Aston Villa to sign Marcus Rashford. 40 million. If we get anything above that, would be brilliant, and his wages off the books. But I think 50 million is a little bit optimistic. Jadon Sancho for 30 million. Again, very optimistic, because I think that Manchester United will be lucky to get 25 is the deal that we've agreed with Chelsea. Maybe some of this is incorporating, kind of taking up some of the wages, which could, maybe lead to these being worth a little bit more because the wages are so high. Then you've got Anthony for 30 million. Again, if we could get 30 million for Anthony, would be excellent, but I don't know whether Real Betis can afford that and his wages. We might be looking more at the kind of 25 million pound mark there. And finally, Tyler Malacia for 10 million. I think we only paid about 12 million for him. We've had him for a few years. He depreciates in value like a car. And I think if we were to get 10 million for him, we'd actually make a little bit of money. So you've got all that. You've got potentially maybe a Casemiro sale. Casemiro has said he wants to stick around. Can we find a way to move him on to Saudi Arabia, where we could get rid of the wages and get a small fee or a fee for him? Rasmus Højlund's apparently up for sale, and I think you're going to have to, you're going to lose Johnny Evans, you're going to lose Christian Eriksen, you're going to lose Victor Lindelof. So those wages are all coming off the bill. So there's potential to bring in money. And if he did have 200 million, but still 200 million these days is not what it was maybe 15 years ago. It still won't get him many players. But if all those players are to leave, we do have to find a way to replace them, because they can't be replaced by youth within the system, because it's just crazy. It'd be absolutely crazy to try and do that. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe Ruben Amorim has a plan, and maybe he's got something up his sleeve that we don't know about. He will have a summer window. He will also have the time over the summer to assess players the way he would like to on the tour when we come back, and hopefully during that period of time and the 3/4 of the season he's had this year, maybe he can make miracles happen, and we can only hope. Okay, so that's the news on the £2 million war chest. So Manchester United are leading the way for Ryan Cherokee, and this is the news that was coming out here. Manchester United are leading the chase for Cherokee. Apparently, we've been monitoring him from the age of 16. Manchester United were well aware of his talents despite missing out on him, and they have monitored him, and they're now set to make a move for cost of £20 million. £20 million for Ryan Cherokee. He does have a release clause of 25 million. I believe we won't get him for 20 million. I believe the only way you could get him if you want him is you pay a bit more, like we did for Euro. You pay a little bit extra, so you maybe pay 30 million in total, and that's 15 million one year and 50 million the following year. Like many transfers have to be, rather than just paying the release clause and paying all the money up front, because I don't think Manchester United want to do that. They want to spread the payments so they can help bring other players in for Ruben in the summer. He's a good player. Let's see what he can do at Old Trafford. He has obviously talked up after the game the other night that he believed that they were the better team and that they're coming to attack. I want to see him attack and see what he's got. You know, he's kind of put his money where his mouth is. Let's see if he can actually walk the walk now. Andrew Onana failed in it. Can Ryan Cherokee live up to it? I hope he doesn't, because if he does, then we will go out. But I will be keeping a close eye on how he gets on Thursday night as well. I didn't really, obviously he scored against us, so you can't knock him for that. But during the rest of the game, I wasn't entirely sure how well he played. He looked like he did okay, but I don't know if he looked like he should be a striker for Manchester United. Okay, let's move on to what Cesc Fabregas was saying about Asano Diao. Manchester United are interested in him. There's no mentality of speculation and selling. They come here to grow and improve the team. Then obviously Man United can come and ask for Diao by offering 40 million euros, but it's not a given that they will leave. Obviously, Manchester United are monitoring this young lad. All I've seen is a few clips of him on YouTube, so I'm definitely not going to talk about him. He looks pretty good. Plays on the right wing. We are obviously going to need a right wing back, and he can't play in that role. And going forward, 40 million euros, possibly. I don't think so. I'd be very surprised if Manchester United were to pay that. But you know, young French kids, there's plenty of them coming through. Doué, particular. Obviously, we've been linked with players at PSG as well. So Manchester United are shopping in the French market. I think we are looking heavily out there and scouting out there, and I think there's a lot of potential out there. So let's just see what happens with that one. And then obviously again more youngsters that Manchester United scouting. Manchester United showing interest in Ajax's 16-year-old Abdullah Bella Kwanzaa. Completely mucked that one up. Apologies. So club scouts have watched this young lad at the under-17 African Nations Cup in Morocco last week. Apparently he was one of the stars on the show. Lost my train of thought there. He's one of the stars of the show out there, and he's doing very, very well. You know, so again, we're looking to recruit young, potentially bring and build our youth academy, bring players through to the under-21s, maybe get them first team debuts for a little bit, and maybe selling them on. That's all I see with this now. I just see us as being like a cattle market. We're just bringing players, bringing cattle in, and finding a way to sell them on at a higher price, because not all these kids are going to come. And the crop that we currently have, especially in the under-18s that are absolutely brilliant at the minute, they're not all going to make it. So there's going to be a lot of potential for sales. And I think this is another one where we could, because we won't see the fruits of a kid like this for maybe another 2 or 3 years. So this is not a Ruben Amorim signing. This is a club signing. So that's where we sit with that one. Okay, so Real Betis are in advanced negotiations to make a payment for Anthony. This is great news. It's really, really good to see. It's good to hear. And it sounds like Anthony is absolutely pulling up trees, which is magic. He's having a great time out there. He's really doing the business. And it really is kind of proven that the loan was a really good idea for him. So I think if he can carry on doing what he's doing and we can get a permanent deal, if it is 25 million, great. If we can get a bit more, squeeze a bit more out of it because there is interest in him, then absolutely fantastic. But let's keep an eye on that one. And that could potentially help us out in the summer, as I've already talked about. Next little bit, Jack Moorhouse is to travel with the first team tomorrow to Newcastle. I'd love to see this kid get some on the bench. I'd love to see him get some minutes in the second half. Brilliant ball carrier, drives forward from midfield. I'm not saying he's like a Cunha, but he's that type of player. A very sort of get on the ball, progressive, wants to make runs, wants to break the lines, wants to try and score goals. Great with the ball at his feet. Would love to see this kid do really, really well. And would love to see him get some minutes and get his debut tomorrow. And then finally, this is where we are. Christian Eriksen talking about Ruben Amorim. When I arrived with Ten Hag, it was a slightly different style of play, slightly different philosophy. Today, the system is a little different, and you have to accept it. Often during the season, it's more difficult to change things because everyone is already in the rhythm of the previous manager. And I think we've seen progress. Players are getting more and more used to the system. Now, I think this is great news. Christian Eriksen kind of just proving what we're starting to see. Our eye test is starting to show us that Ruben Amorim is actually finding a way to show how to play. These players are showing that they can play the system effectively. Defensively, we're getting better, and in the midfield, we're stronger. But up front, obviously, we have a long way to go because we are not creating what we need to create. So we need to sort that one out. Hence the Cunha links, hence all the talks about Rasmus. We obviously need to change the goalkeeper, and I do hope Beinda gets a game today. But great to see that Christian Eriksen is talking about all the good things that are happening, and that, you know, the system's being worked, the players are getting used to it, and hopefully we will see the fruits between now and the end of the season and carry on into next season. Okay, guys, that's your 10 minutes roundup. I'm Keith. Thank you very much for hanging around to the end. If you have done, brilliant. Please hit the old subscribe, bottom right hand corner of the screen. Hit the old thumbs up. The like button would massively help me out. Get your comments in below. What do you think about any of those? Do you think there's a £200 war chest there for Ruben Amorim, or do you think it's just a load of nonsense? Get your thoughts in below on anything else we've discussed. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.